Welcome back to Quarantine History with Mr. Skaggs. In case you're new to the channel, so we are currently on quarantine here in Tennessee, staying out of school. And so I thought I would use this time to help my students with some review that we would have been doing if we would have been in school, but unfortunately we get to sit on the couch in our pajamas all day. So why not redeem that time by doing a little bit of history review? If you want to keep up to date with the channel, please like, share, and subscribe right down below. Oh, wow, that was very YouTuber-y sounding, and that just happened, but it is what it is, I guess. So today, guys, what we're going to be discussing quickly is the #1 missed question on our recent benchmark testing. And I'm not doing this to shame anybody, but it is what it is. We missed it, so let's just try to learn from it. So this was question 17 on our benchmark. And what it is, it's kind of hard to see because printing doesn't do very well. But so it's a chart. And so the chart has a blank at the top, and then it has duties or roles underneath. And so it says right here, the chart describes one common role in African society. And so what it's describing is this person, this role, studies local history, teaches traditions, helps spread culture to new generations. And so below that, it says which role is described by the chart. I want to have a little fun. I want you guys to answer this for me. So was it A, a griot, B, a priest, C, a slave, or D, a warrior? I'll give you 5 seconds. And we're back. So the answer is A, a griot. You got it right. Good for you. If not, let's talk about it. So this is going to be going along with standard 725 that we covered back in October. And if you don't happen to have the TN Standards app, I'll link to it in below, please download that app to keep up with the different standards that we're going to be covering. And so 725 says to explain the importance of griots in the transmission of West African history and culture. And if you would, go ahead and grab your composition book, one of my students. Oh, wait, you can go get it. All right, hopefully you got your composition book. If you don't have your composition book, good job. You're supposed to be on spring break or quarantine break. So it's okay if you don't have your composition book. But if you do, turn to page that's going to be labeled with standard 725. So you've got your standard label at the very top. And if you put the date on it, it was on 10/16 is when this is. So this was a day that we spent looking at griots and African traditions. And I'm going to read directly from the first paragraph. You should have it highlighted where it talks about the griot. And this is going to talk about the role of the griot, the storyteller, the historian in African society. So it says right here, few written records exist about traditional beliefs of African spiritual traditions, as they were passed down orally by griots. A griot is a singing storyteller used to pass down belief systems through generations. Like a game of telephone, oral traditions would change over time and explains why some customs from one group may vary from the customs to another group. So quickly right there, it says that the griot is a singing storyteller, and their role was to pass down the beliefs and traditions of a particular society orally from one generation to another. And this is because it had to be done this way because not every society in Africa had a written language. They had a verbal one they spoke, but they did not necessarily have a written language, and thusly, they didn't have written histories. So the role of the griot in African societies was very pivotal, very important, because they were essentially, if you think about it, they were the Wikipedia of a society. They were the encyclopedia of a society. They were a Google of the society. They were the library. I could go on these examples, but they were how information, traditions, history, business was collected and kept through the generations. And how this would look was a griot. Someone would come to a griot, possibly a leader in the city or a prominent family, would come to them and say, hey, we have this that we want you to create a song, to create a story about for us, so that we could keep this, so that we can pass this down from generation to generation. They would then give the griots some money, because to quote the Joker from The Dark Knight Rises, sorry, The Dark Knight, I'm going to lose nerd points from that. The Dark Knight, from The Dark Knight, if you're good at something, never do it for free. So this was the griots' full-time job. Their profession was to make histories for people. And so the griot would get the information. They would then create a song, a story to go along with that. And that is how information would be saved. So they were this really cool combination of storyteller, historian, musician, and almost like a librarian of sorts, kind of cataloging all this information. And then it would then be passed down from one griot to another. When one would retire, it would get the collection of works from someone else, and it would continue this preservation of history. And so when I come to this part, everybody's kind of like, well, so what? What does this got to do with us today? I think this is really good for us today to see that in Africa, in the way back time, if you will, I guess, they saw an importance of keeping track of their history, keeping track of their information. They did not want things to be forgotten. And in a day that we have now where Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook have stories that filter in and out every 24 hours. You put a little blurb down, you think it's funny and cute, and then 24 hours it's gone. There's not a lot of preservation of the importance of information. So this shows that they cared about their facts. They cared about their information as so much to pay someone to make up a story of it, and make up a history of it, and to then pass that down. And so I think this kind of applies to us today, just to see that the stories that you can tell, the experiences of your life are important. They don't need to just always be forgotten and thrown away every 24 hours, but to be thought about and to be kind of reflected upon the things that are going on in your life right now. Right now is a perfect time to think about how are we going to look back and think about how we spent our couple weeks being stuck inside our houses because we didn't want to get sick, because we didn't know exactly what was going on, but we knew we needed to be precautious. So be thinking about that as you sit around your house trying not to bug your parents. Think about that just a little bit, guys. So if you enjoyed this, if you found this to be beneficial, please like, share, and subscribe down below. Make sure and hit the bell icon so you can get notifications on when I'm going to be posting new videos, new reviews for you guys. Going to be going question by question, standard by standard, working through things that we need to know when state testing comes up. So please, also, down in the comments, you can put any topics that you'd like me to talk about, anything you'd like to cover. Also, just say hi. I like it when people say hi, and hope you have a great day.